Hello there. I had no idea how to start this video. I mean, I don't think I've made videos before talking, but it's still kind of weird. I just wanted to I guess I wanted to make like a video about some facts around my comic or story, you could say. And mostly because I made this map, this thing here, and yeah, the quality looked awful on webtoons, and I was like, I could also post it on Instagram or Twitter, but I figured it would get lost, or I wouldn't be able to write as much as I would want to. Plus, maybe it would be more dynamic to just talk about it or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I think that could work. I'm still going to put subtitles and stuff. First off, because English is not my native language. Plus, I mean, obviously it's necessary to have subtitles for anyone who can't hear and such. And also because I think I could put subtitles in Spanish. I'll see how to do that. Because I do know that there's some people who's reading it in Spanish. And yeah, I would also like to add that as an option. I have no idea how I'm going to do all of this stuff, but it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, everything's quite quiet. I think I'm gonna try to do this. So anyway, this is the first time I think that I'm talking about my comic in this kind of way. I just wanted to make this thing, maybe just once in my life. I don't know if I'll ever make something like this again. I'll finish with this already. Okay, so this is the map of Artist Town. It doesn't have a name yet. I've been struggling with this. You don't know how much I struggle with my own comic, every single day. It might not look like it, or it might, I don't know, but every single day I'm just trying to sleep, or I don't know, I'm at university or something, and I'm like, wait, maybe this is wrong, and then just go back home or at the same place where I am, and I'm like, shit, I gotta check this out, or something like that. So yeah, I'm still kind of thinking how to name this town and the whole planet they live in, because that's also a kind of issue that I had to tackle eventually, but I cannot decide. I'm very indecisive. Maybe one day I'll find a name that I like or something, but for now it's nameless. It's just nameless. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it has a name or not, since the story is just focused on these 4 kids and their life struggles and stuff. So yeah, it's not that much of it's not that important, I guess, but to me it's just fun or important to kind of work on their world, because that's the interesting part. I mean, I made it a fantasy world just because I wanted to. There was no need for me to do that, but I was I just really loved those kind of things, and it's I just wanted to make something like that, and that was all the reason, actually. There's no deep reason for that, but yeah. So first of all, yeah, it's a very small town. I mostly based it on the towns that I've seen as I grew up, where I live. I kind of just wanted to make that kind of idea, it's not a city or anything. It's just a place where probably most people know each other, and some of them go to work in other places, some of them work here. I managed to put most of the parents to work in this town, so it's okay, that's better. For example, there's a town hall here, and I would believe that here it's where Liz, Lumi, and Xiao work mostly. Not exactly sure in which field per se, but yeah, they do work in stuff related to town hall and the community in general. Then you have well, just next to the town hall, there's Yuki's hair salon, salon. How do you say that? I don't know. But anyway, and yeah, it's like the only one in the whole town. So yeah, this is like Yuki knows almost everyone in this town. I mean, that's why she also knew like Nine's parents and Nine himself. But yeah, you I guess you don't really want to get on bad terms with Yuki, or unless you know how to cut your own hair, I guess. But yeah, or want to go to another city for that. But anyway, then there's well, I'm not going to move on to other jobs now. I'm just going to focus on this zone here. Oh yeah, if you see my cursor, I'm so sorry. I just literally have this cursor on default, and it's from this one VN game, like Blooming Panic. I don't know if you know it, but it's a really cool game. And it's been my cursor all this time. I don't even know how I put it on my computer, but it's there. So I'm sorry. But anyway, that was like a different branch of the conversation. Anyway, so here we have like Phoenix house. Yeah, it's it's pretty like a pretty good place, I would say. It's just here. There's like a kindergarten just next to it, and actually this is the one kindergarten and primary school, because it's the two things actually. That's why I kind of like put the two names here, because it serves both I guess services. And this is where Nine used to go when he was a kid. And well, I managed to finish that arc, let's say, finally, about Nine's past, in a way. I mean, that's still going to develop a little bit more in the following arcs and chapters, but the main idea is already there for anyone to interpret. But this is the kindergarten that Nine used to go to. And this is the one where Robin goes to currently. And well, yeah, also if just to like connect the dots, this is also well Orion. You can say Orion. I don't know how you say that in English. Well, okay. Orion used to work in this place too, but well, he was like quit his job, and now he works at this secondary school, which is Ilnia's school. Which is also like, yeah, is Zach's current high school, which is like a more technical school, you know, where it's a bit different from other normal schools, like the one here in that school. They're a bit different, like they have different studies and programs. So yeah, he specializes on that, so he works here, and Zach is like studying something more specific here. That's like another thing that I wanted to mention. Well, speaking of Zach, this is where Zach lives. Ignore like the form of the houses. I don't know how his house is going to be yet, like from the outside. It's still like a pretty small house. It's like enough for him and his mom, and that's pretty much it, basically. But yeah, he lives like pretty near the Elat school. But yeah, this is like the park also, where obviously, well, yeah, it is that, not park, it's like a clear, sorry, I have to correct myself, it's not a park, it's just a clear space, which Zach went to buy like some stuff for his mom, and he met Phoenix and stuff last time. Yeah, this is the place. And what else? I also put this like as the playground. One because I want to remember, and also because like this is the playground from the very beginning, like the very first chapter. Oh my god, the first chapter. I kinda hate my first chapter. I think it happens to anyone, to be honest. But it's like I would change so many things from that one first chapter. But I mean, it is a base of my story nowadays. But it did have many things that I would change nowadays, to be honest. But here's where it all happened, like in this playground. I mean, this is the playground of the breakup scene, but The other scene that was important was like around yeah, I can move too much, but here, this zone here, just like another clear spot or place in which there's the confession scene. And just to mention, I think it was a bit interesting to take into account. Those are like two places that I took into account to make like this whole place. I don't know. Yeah, it just kind of started like that. This is like the road that most of the kids take to go to school. I made it to be only for pedestrians, like cars cannot really enter here. They do have signs and stuff, of course, but they can just go from around it and stuff. But and all of the people and stuff just walk around here. And this is where other scenes occur, like, you know, when kind of like Archie's accidentally bumps into, well, not bump into, but like see Zach as they're going back home, because Archie lives here, so he always has to go from here to here. It's not a long trip, to be honest, and well, Nine lives here, so yeah, they just keep going back home together, at least up until here. Then they say goodbye here. That's where they kind of like take different paths and stuff. And well, like obviously, one thing that I kind of like didn't touch that much at that point, but I think it makes sense now to me and all, is that normally Zach would always go home, like he would go out from school, and he would kind of do it like this, either like turning here or turning here, and then kind of like walking back to his house, because he obviously doesn't want to bump into a certain someone. But this one time that he was talking to his classmate, he obviously kind of got carried away and he forgot. Boy forgot. And he just kind of, because his classmate lives around here, either this house or this house around here, and he just got carried away. But that's just one thing that, well, even if I mention it now, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be mentioned again in another arc. But and just a silly fact, I guess. That's just it. And then what else did I want to mention about this particular zone? Well, there are some health clinics, but that's something that I may or may not touch in later chapters. I did want to make like a very short episode or something like that with this, but I'm still thinking if it's really important or not, so I might just not do it. But it was important for the town to have at least two, I guess, so I just put two here. And a soccer field. The soccer field is going to be a little bit more important, let's say. It's just important to take into account. But yeah, there's one soccer field where most kids play and such. Older kids, yeah, mostly older kids. Not older kids, but not like tiny toddlers and stuff. They had the playgrounds for that one thing. And we're going up. There's, for example, what I already mentioned, like Robin's kindergarten, all these houses, and then we have the park with the market square. This was actually like a recommendation for my mother. Not the market square, but just to put more market stuff, because yeah, there are some shops scattered around, like this one, maybe these ones too. But I was like, yeah, it would be fun to have like a little square market square, you know? And I was like, why not make it around the park? Just because why not? And this is also like something for the future anyway. And in this market square is where Soul's restaurant also is located in. Soul is a character that, I don't know if did I ever mention her name? I'm not sure. This is, Soul would be Phoenix's mother, and she has like a restaurant or food, where you go to go eat food. It's not like a really big place or anything. It's just a standard place, I would say. But it's like that's her job, let's say. This is where it's located. And then, well, this is Lucy's flower shop. And Lucy has a flower shop. It's very, it really does fit her, like that kind of job. And it's located around here. And there's this animal shelter, which is going to be important for something that's coming up now. And I've just been drawing, actually. I finally got another chapter done. Not chapter. Oh my god, that would be great. But it was just one panel. But anyway. And okay, that's like the general things about the map. So now that I explained that, let me see if I forgot something, because now I'm trying to, like, I have no script. I'm just talking. So you might be like, I guess people do get lost when I talk, so I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know. I'm just very spontaneous, I guess. These blue things, I think it will be worth to mention that they're like, how do you call them? They're not police stations because that's too big, but it's like, you know, where if you're in trouble or something, you can just go, and there will be like at least one policeman or someone that can help you. So I put some around here. I may have put too many, but I'm a bit, I don't know, I guess I'm a bit paranoid or something, but there are quite some of these stations around. But just something that I wanted to mention, because I couldn't really mention that in the post. And I was like, yeah, if you wonder what these blue things are, they are these police thingies. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else I could mention now. That's like all I wanted to mention about the map. But I also wanted to mention some things about like the comic itself, because it's really brought back so many memories, especially from the first chapters. And I also remembered about of all the problems I have with my story. Like, one of them, I think, would be also like the moon problem. I have so many problems with the moon. When I was younger, I was so sure about it. I was like, yeah, it's going to be like, I don't know, this cycle in which like it changes from a diamond to like this other colorful moon, and it just like boom, you know, like boom, and there's a lot of colors at night. That's still the case. The only thing that I changed, and I kind of mentioned that in the moon boom kind of episode or extra, is that it didn't make sense for it to look two different ways. So I just like, no, it's just going to look one way, and it's the colorful diamond moon, which is its final form, let's say. That's the only form it has. It still gets recharged. Let's forget about the word day and night, because I was like also pretty much confused and it didn't make sense. Let's just say, yeah, it does get energy from the sun. It does get recharged. And it still does pretty much the same kind of job I once kind of imagined that it would do. But yeah, that's like a little something that I wanted to change a little bit. I do have many things. You might notice that I'm always like changing something, like slightly changing something. But mostly because of that. It's like I could just leave it like that, to be honest, but at the same time I don't want to, because it's like no, it just I cannot. I had to change it a little bit at least. I don't want to change things, so it would be like a whole different thing, you know. But at least make it a little bit more understandable, I guess. Even though it's still a bit confusing. I do have actually. I should have it here, because I was checking it again. Yeah, this is the page. I was checking this whole thing again. And yeah, it's the same, okay? Let's just make it simpler. It does get recharged, because it needs some kind of like this light. But it just looks like this. Yeah, it looks like this all the time. And throughout all its rotations in this planet and such. But yeah, let's forget about the words like, yeah, during the day or during the night, whatever, or that it looks different. Nah, that one is like nah. But anyway, that was one thing. And what else? Oh yeah, I mean, just as I'm saying, these are like a very, very slight changes. You don't know how many times I've changed like the ending of the story. I mean, technically, of course I'm not gonna change it to like break everything I've made. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I tend to like to make some changes so it would like make more sense to what I want to build or the message I want to convey in the end. That I kind of like always thinking about that for following chapters. But yeah, there've been so many changes that there are so many funny stories that were discarded. Not, I mean, I guess they're not funny stories, but so dramatic, or so some were really dramatic, and some were like, how to explain that? I guess like very empty. I don't know if to say the word empty, because the current flow of the story, I can't spoil it, of course. I'm not gonna do that. Do stop me if I ever do that, because for all that I know, I could accidentally do that. But nah, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, it would be funny if I could kind of recall one day like the other kind of endings that I had imagined for this story at first. One of them was like, yeah, kind of dramatic, or just like I don't know. How would I describe that one? The first ending. There were just 3 characters. That one I remember. It was just Artis, 9, and Zach. That was like the very beginning of the story when I first imagined it, and I was like, I want to make a story about. And no, actually, never mind. The very first draft of this story, it wasn't even a draft. It came from my imagination, and I never even drew anything about it. I actually drew something though, but it's not here, I think. But that one drawing, I think I posted it on my social media anyway, but it was a drawing with like Artis and 9 if they were like humans. And that one drawing is based on this one original idea that I had. It was going to be like, yeah, they were all going to be women actually. Now that I remember. Yeah, they were all going to be girls, around the same age, I think. But it was going to be a bit different. Yeah, well, that one was like really sad in a way. I did not have an ending for that one. That one was just like, it was going to be Artis, who was going out with a girl, Zach. I didn't have a name for that girl. She later became Zach. It's funny enough, they were so different, like so different from how they are now. Like girl Zach was very tiny. I remember that for once. Oh, how things have changed. Anyway, girl Zach was like she would date Artis, let's say, for a bit of like for the same period of time that they dated in the original comic. Now it's like, imagine like some months actually. They were friends before, of course, but they dated for a few months. And the thing is, with this one old story, is that girl Zach did not actually. How to explain it? I have to put my thoughts together now, because I just remember this. So, girl Zach did know about Artis' gender situation. Okay, she did know, and it was so shitty though. It was a long time ago. I know. It was so shitty though, because it's like she would kind of like, how to explain it? It's just awful to mention it. But it was like, she kind of, imagine she would like tell this girl Artis to be like, okay, well, not girl Artis in this case. Anyways, you understand the point. She would tell Artis that like, oh, okay, we're gonna wait for until the moment you know, we get to know more about your gender and stuff, and kind of like hope that you're a girl kind of thing. That's what she would say. And Artis would be like, oh yeah, I can assure that I will be a girl kind of thing, you know? Everything aside, like any kind of idea, notion, or ideals aside, That's what these two, let's say, middle school girls talked about. Okay, yeah, that's one point. And then when this whole thing happens later on, kind of like Archie finds out that Girl Zag had actually just recently, just before this happened, had started seeing another girl. And of course, Archie's, like this Archie finds out, and she's devastated. Like, totally devastated. And Girl Zag is a bit like, saying like, you know what, I kind of like had a feeling that it wouldn't turn out like we kind of expected, so I thought of seeing someone else, and that I think we should like you know, how's the saying, like see other people, I guess, or take other kinds of path, something like that. You know, you get the gist of it, out of it. And that would be like a whole scene, and that would be like a breaking point, obviously like a breaking point for these artists from this original story. And there was nothing much developed, just that one beginning. Obviously it changed quite a bit, I would say. I wouldn't have liked to work with that one originality anyway. But yeah, that was one story. And yeah, obviously later on these artists would later meet Nine. I don't know what was gonna happen between them. I don't know if they would just be friends or become something else. But they would just help each other. Like they're kind of doing now, you know? Like, no matter what happens in the end, it's just that kind of thing. That they're just kind of helping each other through rough times. Or rough times that already happened, let's say. That kind of idea. I think that one is like the one that's stuck to me the most. And yeah, that was one of the original like flow settings of the story. Then there were like different endings and such. And yeah, like Phoenix, for example, is like one of the most important additions I have made to the story. I don't remember why I decided to add Phoenix. It was like the very last years of my high school era, let's say. And I remember for some reason I was like, it would make sense to add like one more character, you know, like one more character to the main characters, the main three characters that already existed. And they changed everything. Phoenix, I can surely say that Phoenix changed the whole story. Not the whole story, but the current flow of the story as it was at that moment. And I was like, yes, I like this. I really liked how things turned out ever since Phoenix appeared. Their first appearance, I could have done it better, to be honest. It was like, yeah, I could have done it way better as the first chapter. Now that I look at it with different eyes in the future. But as I said before, it was the basis, like the base future chapters. And they are very important to me, at least in many aspects, to be honest. So that's why I'm really hyped to see what's gonna happen to them. I mean, obviously kind of know what's gonna happen to them, but I'm just like excited to see how things are going to work out for them and stuff like that. I just kind of try to go at my own pace, but still get it done. And I hope that one day I'll be able to see the end of this story, because it's just like it kind of became like a really important project for me. Oh, what was that? Sorry. Anyway, it's a very important project for me. Like, I don't really plan on making any money out of it or anything at the moment, at least. I just kind of want to create something, and if someone reads it, that would be like really nice, I guess. Or if someone finds some kind of a comfort, or just thinks it's funny or ridiculous, whichever comment is okay to me. And it's just like, if I'm able to create something, that's like my goal, let's say. Because I love creating. I just love creating. And I just want to see where this goes, because it's been with me like for a long time. Like, when was it my first chapter? Was it 2020? Yeah, 2020. Yeah, it's been a long while. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a really important project for me in many senses. And it's like, oh my god, in 4 years so many things have happened. I'm just like, man. But yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to talk about. I ended up rambling about like different stories about the comic, or different things about the comic. I don't know if I wanted to say anything else, but it just kind of became like a video. I don't think it's any short. I don't think it's short. It's probably quite long. I guess you can take it as a podcast, or just watch the first half of the video and forget this other half. But if not, okay. Thank you so much for listening to this. I probably cut some parts because they're kind of like redundant, or I'm just repeating things. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to this, and I guess we'll see each other in another chapter. Yeah, I'm gonna be working on that. Okay, bye.